All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive.
And today we're tackling something
We are going in.
essential. We're getting granular.
We are. This is the KitchenAid French door bottom mount refrigerator manual.
The model number.
Model number W11218735B.
If you're following along at home.
Yes, if
Yep.
you're following along at home and I know what you might be thinking. This is a little different
A little different.
than our usual subject matter. A little more.
Down to earth.
Yeah.
A little less theoretical.
Exactly.
A little more practical.
We're talking appliances today, but trust me, this manual had some surprises even I wasn't expecting.
Oh, yeah. And that's the amazing thing that I've found by digging into these manuals.
Right.
You can learn a lot more than just, where the ice tray is.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of surprises, this manual starts off with a safety warning.
Yes.
That really caught my eye.
Right.
Improper disposal of old refrigerator.
Yeah. It's not something that you think about every day.
Right.
But it can be a real hazard.
It's true. The manual actually uses some pretty strong language here. Risk of suffocation, child entrapment, even death or brain damage. It's a little intense, honestly, so what's the story there?
Yeah, well, it all goes back to, how refrigerators were designed a few decades ago?
Okay.
Back then, they used to rely on latches that could trap a child inside.
Like those old abandoned cars you see.
Exactly. And while modern fridges are much safer, there might be some of those older models still out there.
Yeah, lurking.
In a garage or basement.
So this is like a PSA moment.
It is.
If you have an older fridge on its way out, make absolutely sure you remove those doors before getting rid of it.
Yeah. There's even a special safety alert symbol in the manual about this.
It's a simple step, but it could literally save a life.
Absolutely.
So important. All right, so let's shift gears to something a little more fun.
Okay.
This fridge is packed with some really cool features.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about the ice dispenser, although that is pretty cool too. But have you heard of a dual evaporator system?
Yes, that's one of the highlights of this model.
Yeah.
It's basically like having two separate climate zones within your fridge.
Okay, but what does that actually mean for our food?
Paint me a picture.
All right, so imagine this. You pull out a perfectly chilled platter of shrimp for your guests. No freezer burn in sight.
Nice.
And then you grab a scoop of ice cream for dessert.
And it doesn't even remotely taste like that leftover fish you stored last week.
Wait, is that a real thing? My fridge always smells like a weird combination of everything.
It doesn't have... That's the beauty of this dual evaporator system.
Okay.
It keeps the humidity levels separate between the fresh food and the freezer compartments.
So less freezer burn and no more mystery smells. I am here for it.
We got it. I'm sold. Yeah.
And if you're someone who likes things organized and easily accessible,
Oh, tell me more.
you'll love this next gem, the pull-out tray.
Ooh, tell me more. I'm all about efficiency in the kitchen.
This one's for you then.
Okay.
It's strategically located right between the crisper drawers and the bottom shelf. Perfect for those large or awkwardly shaped items that you don't want to be shifting constantly. So no more playing Tetris with heavy casserole dishes or party platters. I can already tell this is going to be a game changer.
That's right.
Speaking of game changers, let's talk installation.
Okay.
This is the part that always makes me a little nervous, squeezing a giant fridge through doorways, hoping I don't scratch anything.
Yeah, it's a delicate dance.
It really is.
For sure.
But the good news is, this manual is surprisingly helpful when it comes to installation.
It is.
They even address some of the common mistakes people make, like not measuring the doorways beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Been there, done that.
Classic.
Right?
Classic blunder. But seriously, the manual is adamant about measuring those doorways before you even think about moving the fridge.
And it makes sense.
It does.
A little bit of planning.
A little bit goes a long way.
Okay, so what if you find yourself in a situation where the fridge doesn't fit through the door, asking for a friend, of course.
Don't worry, they've got you covered.
Okay.
The manual actually has instructions on how to remove the doors if absolutely necessary.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. It's like they've anticipated every possible scenario.
They really have. And another thing they're very specific about is the water line installation, for your ice dispenser and water filter.
Right. What were some of the key points there?
Well, they strongly recommend using copper or Whirlpool branded PEX tubing for the water line.
Okay.
Apparently, these materials provide the most reliable water flow.
So no cutting corners with that old garden hose from the garage.
Definitely not. And they even talked about the ideal water pressure range.
Oh,
It's all about making sure your ice maker will be cranking out those cubes efficiently.
Smart. All right, so let's move on to a topic. I know you're passionate about keeping things clean,
Yes.
And specifically, keeping this beautiful new fridge sparkling clean.
Well, a clean fridge is a happy fridge. And a happy fridge makes for happy food and a happy you. But in all seriousness, this manual has some really good maintenance tips. It's not just the usual wipe down the shelves advice.
Right. Give me an example. What kind of deep cleaning wisdom did we uncover?
For instance, they have specific instructions on how to clean the stainless steel doors.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that using certain types of cleaners can actually damage that sleek finish?
Really? I had no idea. So what's the secret to keeping those stainless steel surfaces looking pristine?
They recommend using a cleaner specifically designed for stainless steel. That way you're cleaning it effectively without causing any harm.
Good to know. And speaking of keeping things fresh, the manual also dives into the air filter system.
Yes.
I have to admit, I'm always a little fuzzy on when it comes to replacing filters.
It's easy to overlook, but those filters play a crucial role in keeping your fridge smelling fresh and your food tasting its best.
Right.
And guess what? This fridge has a pretty impressive air filter.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
They say it's 15 times stronger than baking soda at combating odors.
15 times.
So you can say goodbye to those mystery smells even after storing last week's fish.
Wow, 15 times. That's impressive. I'm starting to see why they call this a deep dive. So how often do we need to replace this superhero filter?
That's the best part. The manual has a whole section dedicated to the different types of filters and their replacement schedules.
Perfect. Now we can actually stay on top of that instead of just letting it slip our minds until, well, the fridge starts to smell a little funky.
Exactly. And it's not just about the smell. Understanding those filter types and replacement schedules can actually save you money and frustration in the long run.
Now, that's what I call practical knowledge. Okay,
Well-
so we've covered safety awesome features, installation tips, and even cleaning and maintenance. But what happens when things inevitably go wrong?
Ah, yes. The dreaded moment when something stops working and you're standing there with a fridge full of groceries wondering what to do.
It's like that feeling when the Wi-Fi goes out and you just want to order a pizza.
Right. Or, you're trying to binge your favorite show
Exactly.
and the whole thing just freezes.
The worst. But luckily, before we spiral, the manual, as always, comes to the rescue.
Yes, it does.
With a whole section devoted to troubleshooting.
Of course, of course.
Those oh no moments.
They've got you covered.
So what are some of the most common issues they tackle?
Well, they really focus on the big ones.
Okay.
Refrigerator, not running at all.
Okay.
The motor seems to be running constantly.
Yep.
Problems with the ice maker, the classics.
The ones we're most likely to encounter.
Exactly.
So what's the takeaway? Do they just tell you to call for service and resign yourself to a life without chilled rosé?
Not at all.
Yeah.
In fact, they really emphasize simple checks
Okay.
that you can do yourself before calling in the reinforcements.
Because let's be honest, sometimes the solution is as simple as plugging it in
You would be surprised.
or making sure the thermostat hasn't been accidentally nudged.
It happens all the time. So they walk you through those basic troubleshooting steps,
Okay.
which can often save you a service call and a whole lot of stress.
Knowledge is power.
Always.
Especially when it comes to appliances, it's like having that superpower to troubleshoot your own tech instead of relying on the geek squad all the time.
I like that analogy.
Well, I think we've successfully deconstructed, or should I say defrosted,
I see what you did there.
the mystery of the refrigerator manual.
We did it.
We covered everything from those crucial safety measures to, honestly, those hidden features that make you wonder, how did I live without this?
Right.
Not to mention some practical advice to keep your fridge running smoothly for years to come.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we've empowered you to tackle those little hiccups without breaking a sweat.
That's right.
Who knew a deep dive into a fridge manual could be so enlightening?
There's always something new to learn.
Always. Always. All right, well, that's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.